that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong. God help me to make good my vow, and God bless all of you who are willing to share in it.
She says, I pledge myself to serve you. And by the way, the you here is not just people in London or even in England. It is the whole, then, empire becoming the Commonwealth.
We learnt from it that the Queen's sense of duty came above everything else. Above marriage, above parenthood, she is pledging herself to serve.
But where did this sense of duty come from? Her early life was crucial. She'd watched her grandfather, the King Emperor George V, at his Silver Jubilee in 1935. And then in dramatic, even scandalous circumstances, her father was called upon to step into his brother's shoes.
This is Windsor Castle. And now that I have been succeeded by my brother, my first words must be to declare my allegiance to him. But you must believe me when I tell you that I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility without the help and support of the woman I love.
It was as if a deep line had been scored across the history of these islands and also the history of the monarchy.
Edward VIII's reign lasted just 325 days. He was the first British monarch to abdicate. He did so in order to marry the twice-divorced American, Wallis Simpson. With no children, the crown went to his younger brother, the Duke of York, a quiet family man whose happy marriage to Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon had borne the two girls, Elizabeth and Margaret. The abdication in December 1936 caused a political crisis. It divided the nation, and there was talk about whether the monarchy itself would survive.
I mean, it's a tremendous shock to a rather staid and very settled society, and the institution that is at the apex of the political and administrative systems. So it's quite hard now in a secular age, more secular age, and a more understanding age about divorce and personal preferences and all the rest of it, to appreciate just what a lightning flash December 1936 was.
When King George VI came to the throne, the princesses were moved to Buckingham Palace. When she was told, a horrified Elizabeth replied, "What? Do you mean forever?" "Does this mean you'll be queen?" asked her sister, Princess Margaret. "I suppose it does."
She was born into this really happy family. They had dogs, they had a lovely family life, and they were a very secure little unit and a very loving little unit. And then suddenly, the security of her life went out the window.
Leaving their comfortable private home in Piccadilly, the task was thrust towards them, and the whole family had to learn to embrace it.
She took it very seriously. I think the example that she had from her father, as well as her mother, was absolutely crucial to her understanding of what being a monarch actually meant.
She grew up watching her father as he overcame his shyness to become the face of the empire at war.
He'd arranged for practical things. Foreign Office papers she would be shown and so on. So she picked up from him essential ingredients of kingship in the realm, the whole lot, but also she was aware of the affairs of state.
In 1939, when war broke out, it was suggested that the princesses Elizabeth and Margaret should be evacuated hurriedly to Canada. Queen Elizabeth, their mother, said, "I should die if I had to leave. The children won't go without me. I won't leave the king, and the king will never leave."
In daylight raids, between 350 and 400 enemy aircraft were launched in 2 attacks against London and southeast England. About half of them were...
While her parents spent their days working in London, returning to Windsor Castle at night, Elizabeth watched as her mother courted the press, boosting the nation's morale, and joined in, along with her sister, in their first radio broadcast in October 1940.
Thousands of you in this country have had to leave your homes and be separated from your fathers and mothers. My sister Margaret Rose and I feel so much for you, as we know from experience what it means to be away from those we love most of all.
There was this sense that she wanted to say that she understood how difficult it had been for others her age. It's almost the first time that we saw her reaching out to her future subjects.
4 years later, 18-year-old Princess Elizabeth joined the war effort as a member of the Auxiliary Territorial Service.
I think joining any branch of the armed forces in a total war would leave a very great imprint upon you. The comradeship, the need for shared fortitude, and also doing one's bit. It's very, very important when you have a family on the throne that the family does its bit with the rest of the country at times of duress.
I think that Her Majesty herself